With great power must come great responsibility. But what about medium power? Even medium to lowish power. Those get medium to low responsibility, right? I think I'm a better fit for that. In fact, I'm so certain of this, I'll make sure I never have great power. In Marvel's Spider-Man, I won't learn any new skills, I won't make use of any gadgets in combat, and I'll never even heal. All in spectacular difficulty, since that's the highest difficulty I have access to. Since I want to cry myself to sleep every time I see remastered Peter's face. As much as I'd love to hit him so hard that he's as slow as learning as yours truly, I can't keep Peter from leveling up, which will be the only change between Spidey at the start and Spidey by the end. Unless we're counting all the trauma, then yep.
Big change.
Now grab that one measly piece of toast that'll be your only food for the next 24 hours, and let's barely live up to low expectations. After my seemingly endless no damage run months ago, this entire opening section is just pure trauma, no matter how long it's been. Pure physical agony. More agony abounds as right away I'm forced to both use my web shooter and heal. Despite my resistance to following the tutorials, I'm totally prepared to slow-mo my way through the game, but the gun pointed at my face really helps me reassess my priorities. Least I can find comfort in denting the skulls of Fisk's goons with every hard object laying around. Though admittedly, I may have gone too far with this corrupt cop. But nah, I'm pretty sure that's how mechs naturally rest. Very out of alignment with the spine. Guy just needs a new gaming chair. And so, apparently, do I. So I can use it to smash apart these turrets. I really try and find a way around them, or get them to do the dirty work for me. But nope, the game demands I use my web shots to shut them down so I can fling them at Big Baby Wilson. At least Fisk is always such an easy fight, right?
You're losing.
I call foul. This guy clearly did not hit me. It's just that Spidey is still too dedicated to his old wrestling days and played along with it. Time for the grand reward of not learning anything from my heroic deeds. But come on, you really think after 8 years of crime fighting, Spider-Man's just gonna suddenly start learning new move after new move if he hasn't after all this time? At least I can know when a gunman is clearly bluffing about shooting a hostage. Huh. Well, there's no way he'd do it again. Okay, to be fair, there's no way anyone could have seen that coming. Not my responsibility. Time to try and teach a civilian to find the inner strength to save themselves. But they're really lazy, making me do everything. Oh, this is too heavy. I'm not sure I can save you, dude. I'm so sorry. Nah, I'm just playing with you. It's quite easy. We like to have fun though, don't we? Leaving behind another happy civilian, I'm irked yet again at another tutorial gadget moment. But at least I can work that off by providing all these thugs with free yoga and spine realignments. Turns out this is much like riding a bike. No matter how long it's been, I never forget how to break the bones of underpaid henchmen. That is, except for the brutes that have been eating their Wheaties every day, it seems. I try desperately to break their block whenever I run out of objects to throw at them, but despite being a metahuman who regularly halts entire trucks with his bare hands, Spider-Man is evidently weaker than these random rent-a-thugs. I guess Tobey's Spider-Man really was right.
Work out, plenty of rest. You know, eat your green vegetables.
This Spidey's only been eating toast, not enough green vegetables. Perhaps the cool new suit Doc Ock made for me would help, but I refuse to wear it or make use of any suit power, no matter how handy they would be. I count them as gadgets, and frankly, who needs them when you can just stand next to a ledge? No matter how many times they yank them to their deaths, these goons don't seem to get it's not a good idea to come near me. But what can I expect when I spend 7 minutes just watching a group of them perform a mugging on one lone woman, yet never get anywhere with it? I really don't know what's worse, how terrible they are at mugging, even with so many of them, or the fact that the cops never show up in that time despite all the running, screaming people noticing the crime. I gotta love New York. Good thing Spidey's here to save the day. Unless saving the day relies on me using my web shooter, then I'm sorry to say, stop posing like a model and say your prayers. Something I have to do plenty of when I need to prevent a hostage from getting murdered. Gadgets would help to knock these guys out quick or grab their attention, but I suppose continuously uppercutting them, then smashing them into the floor, followed by the worst attempt to knock a display case over on them, and more uppercuts can also lead to victory. No clue how the demons in the next room didn't hear any of that, but at least no one got hurt. Okay, well, mostly no one got hurt. Well, except this guy. This guy's definitely a pancake now. A poor little demon pancake, but I'm not even sure how it happened. I can't possibly be responsible for physics just giving up on the guy. Hopefully I can put that nastiness behind me with a peaceful swim full of raging felons turned placid. So nice that the mere touch of water calms even the angriest soul, it seems. I'd love to stay with them, but unfortunately, I need to take pictures of cars responsible for terrible air pollution. I'm not entirely sure how these photos of the cars are going to help anyone, because, as mentioned, the terrible air pollution, but hopefully, someone will figure it out. I need to be off to die to Shocker. Gotta remember, it doesn't matter how easy of a fight it is if I fail to pay attention when the cutscene ends, because I'm too focused on watching Psych. It's a quick way to the emergency room doing that. Though if you want a real sure way to die, how about trying to stop a cab with your body? It may not stop the car, but it's fantastic at stopping all my organs. At least when I get them working again, I can team up with Jefferson Davis, the noble cop, to stop the demons from raiding an armory. Well, theoretically, we'd stop it. To be fair, most would have wet themselves and gone into the fetal position after getting tased and flashbanged this many times. But this demon is just built too differently. Following his strong example, I refuse to dodge out of the way of any rockets sent my way. And you know what? I was right to. Only one manages to hit me regardless, and it barely tickles. Kind of sad when a punch does more damage to me than an energy-enhanced rocket does. Even more sad when I refuse to use my web shooters to save this truck. I'm immediately treated to a mission failed screen instead of a cool explosion. Shouldn't failure have some benefits? But it seems even when I'm not failing, only changing clothes, things still go wrong for me. I literally saw him web his clothes to the wall 2 seconds before. Where did they go? Are you telling me everything that gets webbed to walls just dissolves into nothingness seconds later? Oh my, oh dear. I might be responsible for a lot more mass murder than I thought. I refuse to take any responsibility, let alone great responsibility, for this great amount of murders. Least in good news, when the game forces me to use my web bomb in yet another gadget tutorial, I'm able to reset from checkpoint and not have to web anybody the second time. Shatter their jaws and send them headfirst into walls, sure, but at least no gadgets. I can't say the same for when I have to use gadgets to save a crashing helicopter from smashing a bunch of people. But first off, I really try to let them die like the challenge hero that I am. And second, it's a quick time event, plus out of combat, so I'm safe, thankfully. Perhaps it wouldn't have gotten this bad if I hadn't spent so much time playing tag with the demon swordsman in the helicopter earlier, but it gave us both great cardio. If only Peter was around to help Miles Morales get his mom unpinned by a bunch of debris. I'll try one more time. And nope, not gonna happen. Oh well, time to go catch some pigeons instead. And stare at an impersonator getting beaten up by a bunch of fist thugs. My god, maybe he should be the real Spider-Man. Sure, he's not the best fighter, but he can take 1 trillion hits. Why, I can only take a grand total of 3 or 4. Honestly, I'd bet on him over me. Good thing I'm also a semi-skilled crime fighter when I once again take massive damage due to watching Psych when a cutscene ends. How dare the game make me actually tap into the tiny amount of skill I have to stay alive through all this. Good thing this brute is actually easier to beat since he gets tired very easily, just like most of my friends do when in my company. Better than getting socked by one of them, but honestly, it is only a matter of time. Speaking of time, I really throw mine away as I wait patiently in line as Miles. But this Sable Guard just keeps endlessly scanning this same couple on repeat instead of letting anyone through. No wonder Miles is forced to sneak past, but I bet he wishes he had the same powers as Dr. Michaels here. I had no clue the man could just phase through solid matter. But what a twist! The demon capturing him can also phase right through. Seriously, had no idea these people had powers too. Amazing. Less amazing is getting sucked into Mr. Negative's twisted world as he pummels me with negative thoughts, and almost as bad, swords. Strangely, not very hard-hitting swords, though.
All that for a drop of blood.
Can't say the same for this sword strike that leaves me on the cusp of death. Thing is, I do my best work on the cusp of death. That's why I live off of minimum sleep. Too much Taco Bell, endless pizza rolls, and minimum sunlight. The true secrets to my success. Which is why I'm once again close to my demise fighting Mr. Negative. It's definitely me pulling a super genius move, and not simply a case of fighting recklessly and nearly dying for it, but only nearly dying. I would say it would take something much harder to bring me down, but I guess a bunch of angry escaping prisoners will suffice. Not once, but twice. Per usual, the bosses of this game are extremely easy, not providing any real threat, while the henchmen prove much more dangerous. This is why I spend more time modeling and photo shoots with them than actually worrying about the combat itself. It does zap my energy that the only way to hurt Electro is by webbing him first, and there's no getting around that. Get to take my frustration out on the Vulture's old beak at least. And then Scorpion has to go and give me the same issue in a hallucination. Only by hanging out with a bunch of people at equal skill level do I feel any better. Time to take comfort by beating the snot out of a bunch of hypnotized innocents, and then spend far more time trying to line this photo up than on anything else in the entire game. If the Sinister Six really want to stop me, then give me a bunch of child-level puzzles like this, and I'll be too busy to ever go after them. Good thing Miles is on the job. Guy doesn't even have powers yet, but he manages 2 impossibilities within the span of a minute. First, he finds 2 criminals on their own, which is unheard of, but he also manages to knock one out in a single punch. No wonder the other prisoner's too scared to fight, which is a 3rd impossibility, I realize. No matter how much of a spine-chilling beatdown I provide, criminals never flee from me, and they always tank tons of hits from the superpowered Spidey before falling. If only I had Miles' help against Rhino and Scorpion as they quickly seize the crown for the hardest fight of the challenge. In my previous playthroughs, they're incredibly easy, given how simple it is to just web up Scorpion and take him down. But that's obviously not something I can do. I'm only able to embrace my inner trash man and fling garbage at him. But every time I try, Rhino horns in. And if I target Rhino, Scorpion relentlessly interrupts. This leads to death after death as the duel makes this spider go splat. Heck, if this is how hard 2 of them are, why didn't all 6 just attack me at once before continuing to ruin the city? It already worked once, no reason not to do it twice. I guess I'm just glad that thought doesn't occur to them, as I knock Rhino out only to get killed by Scorpion while stuck in the animation. Spectacular! I do manage to finally win by fully focusing on taking Rhino out first, but giving the majority of my attention to avoiding Scorpion's attack while I wait for Rhino to finally fall. Once he's down, Scorpion develops a glass jaw and goes down with him. Now to go fight the most annoying henchmen in the form of jetpack fighters, so I can die again and then barely survive round 2 with them all, so that I can face off with Mr. Negative for the 2nd time. This is tremendously easy with him by his lonesome, and that means it's time for another photo shoot. Who's the real Mr. Negative now? With Mr. Positive given his dose of sunshine, Doc Ock thrashes me in the cutscene, so I chase after him in my one and only costume change, as the game forces it upon me. It's purely cosmetic, since I'm not going to make use of any gadgets still, and who needs to, when the good doctor's one of the easiest fights of the game. He's constantly chucking the floor at me, which he thankfully somehow never seems to run out of, and I simply return his flaming gifts at high velocity. Always insane to me how many hits Otto can tank through. Still, it's not enough to stop me from seizing an easy win from him though. Huzzah! After 12 hours and 18 minutes with 19 deaths and 4 non-tutorial gadget-forced moments, I've beaten Marvel's Spider-Man without gadgets, healing, or upgrades. But now that I have one and the challenge is over, it's time to learn. The power! The unlimited power! It's all mine! And soon, Spider-Man 2 will be mine as well, which I'm super excited to play in a month. Hopefully you are all too. Thank you all for watching my descent into madness continue. Now, maybe don't follow my example and actually do go learn a thing or two. Excelsior, right? See you later, friends.